Microphones on, please. The time is 6:33 p.m. and we are ready to call our City of Inkster Planning Commission meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Chisholm,
Present.
Commissioner Nolan,
Excuse absence.
Commissioner A. Williams, here. Commissioner Hayes Bradford,
Excuse absence.
Commissioner Tanya Williams,
Absent as of now.
now. Commissioner McDaniel, and then Commissioner Willis,
Commissioner Willis also has an excuse absence for this evening.
and then Commissioner Hall, correct?
Yes. Yes. And then Commissioner Davis.
Oh, Davis, I'm sorry.
I'm not going, Dan.
You're right. Commissioner Davis.
We have 5 present at this time, and we do have a quorum. Once Commissioner Williams, Tanya Williams arrives, we will take note of her being present. We're down to item number 2, adoption of the agenda. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the agenda?
Yes.
Are there any additions or subtractions?
To which one, or, no.
Or just anything on the agenda?
No.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are now down to, agenda is adopted. We're now down to item number 3, adoption of minutes. We have item 3A, adoption of January 29, 2024 meeting minutes. And we also have item 3B, adoption of March 26, 2024 meeting minutes. Let's take these one at a time.
Okay.
So,
I move to approve the adoption of the January 29th meeting minutes with any necessary corrections.
is there support?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded with any necessary corrections. Are there any corrections? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We're down to item 3B, adoption of March 26, 2024 meeting minutes. The floor is open for a motion.
I move to adopt the minutes of March 26, 2024 meeting minutes with any necessary corrections.
Is there support? Support.
Good.
All righty. It's been properly moved and supported. Is there discussion on these?
I do have one correction.
Go right ahead, Commissioner Williams.
Well, we made the motion to close the public hearing. It said it was moved by Hayes Bradford and seconded by Tanya Williams. It was actually moved by McDaniel and seconded by Hayes Bradford.
All righty. So that's one correction or 2 corrections, if you will. Let the records reflect that, please. Are there any others?
That was it for me.
All righty. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We're down to item number 4, master plan update, introduction / kickoff. Item A, discussion with project manager Paul Uriel, and forgive me if I mispronounced that last name, and do correct me as you approach the podium, of McKenna and Associates for the updating of the master plan for the city of Inkster. And I see a typo on here, so we need to everybody correct the word Inkster. Sorry about that. But is Paul with us tonight? Oh, there he is. All righty.
That was very close. It's Urbiel, but that's
Say it again for me.
my name's Urbiel, but that's very close.
Spell it for me.
Urbiel.
Urbiel. All righty. We will make that change. Just sorry about that.
No worries. This is my colleague Donovan Smith, who's going to help me present today, and she's working on this with me. Thank you for having us here. We're excited to be here to kick off an update on the Inkster Master Plan. What we wanted to do is just sort of walk quickly through what the process is, why we're doing this, and your role in it, and just sort of set out the schedule, what we'll be doing, and how we'll be working with you to update the master plan for the city. This is an agenda. Again, it's basically what I just recapped. Who is doing what from the city's perspective. We'll talk a little bit about what we will be doing. We talk a little bit about our approach to the master plan. Just sort of talk about how some of the analysis that we've already been doing influences the final document and talk about next.
Real quick, and I should actually do this at the beginning. Just for those who may be viewing and those in the audience who might not be familiar with what a master plan is, can you just give us a 30-second spiel on what a master plan is?
Yep. So the presentation is actually a little bit longer spiel about what it is, but in 30 seconds, it's in its best form, it's a community's aspiration for what it's going to be in the next generation. Fundamentally, it requires the state requires that there is a future land use plan in a master plan. So it is that's the common theme of every municipality's master plan, but it's a policy document. It's not a law. It's a policy document that is that should guide decision making about land use decisions.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll get into that a little bit more, and I'm happy to answer any questions as we go. Please, if you'd like. So I've introduced ourselves. I think many of you probably remember Jane, who's also on our team, not here tonight. So about the master plan, as I said, it's a vision for the community. State guidance is that it gets at least reviewed every 5 years. Yours was last worked on in 2016, so it's sort of time for a check-in. And we're here because of some Michigan State Housing Development Authority assistance, a program that is running to help communities address housing issues across the state. You are engaged with the Redevelopment Ready Communities Initiative that the Economic Development Corporation, the State Economic Development Corporation has. And so that will influence our activities for the master plan, because there are best practices there, and there are things that we'll have to do to keep those in line. The master plan, as I said, it's basically a look forward for a generation. If it's done properly, it represents consensus of the people, the community that lives there. So we have an engagement program that we will describe. And it states a vision and then translates some actionable goals and objectives about how to achieve that in the short term with the 20-year time horizon in mind. So just some things that it does provide insight into is community assets and resources that are available. We do a lot of analysis about current best practices and trends and apply those to this context. A master plan should explore the future public facility needs and then identify places where things could be improved. But the statement on the right in the blue is sort of the top level purpose of a master plan, which is to provide a community-driven statement of a positive future inclusive of all existing and potential new residents. So you as the Planning Commission have an extremely important role from the city's perspective in a master plan update. We will be asking for your help advertising events and sort of being an ambassador for the process. That is an extremely important role and one that we rely on you on. But then also you are the guiding body that, as we are drafting policies as a working staff to draft policies, will provide us with direction. You will approve the draft when it's ready to release publicly, and you will take the first step in adopting the plan. So, as I said, you recommend public distribution. Some of the formal steps are that once we've presented you a draft, if you are satisfied with it, if you feel like it meets the requirements and is ready for public review, there's a 63-day required time period where the draft is available to the surrounding communities and to your public. We will take those comments, we will catalog them, talk to you about whether you believe that that revision is necessary based on those comments, based on anything that it comes up either way. And then you'll host a public hearing for adoption. And I believe in this situation, City Council will ultimately adopt the master plan, but by state law, either the Planning Commission or the City Council could act as that adopting body. So the City Council, in addition to that, also we will ask them to first perform those same ambassadorial and public engagement functions, but they will also, the City Council receives the recommendation from you when you believe that the draft plan is ready for public content, and then formally authorizes that 63-day comment period to begin, and then will receive the recommendation from the Planning Commission to adopt the master plan, and is able to adopt the master plan itself.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Donovan. I'll kind of go over the approach and kind of what you can expect on a schedule-wise. So in your packet on the screen, this is about a just short of 12 months, 10-month project or so. So we'll be running from April to February. And at least one portion I want to highlight on this schedule is the public outreach, which we'll get into a little later on this presentation. That's going to run majority of the process because we're constantly either holding events or activities or collecting public input and updating that plan. So the public engagement will have a couple of line engagement activities, some roundtable, and a community meeting. We'll aggregate all that information and update the plan. And then we'll also hold sessions kind of towards the end of the summer in June, July, and August to work on the goals and objectives. We anticipate you'll have a draft for review sometime around September, August, October. And then we'll start looking at implementation strategies and then move into the adoption phase. Really high level, some of the topics we'll be touching on, in addition to the future land use components, as Paul mentioned, are the goals and objectives, looking back at your previous plans, to working with the residents and you all to update and see if you have existing goals that you want to continue to push forward in this version of your master plan, or if you want to amend or change any of those. As I mentioned, we'll be looking at the future land use plan. We'll be looking at the transportation network and the systems in the city, and incorporating best practices and additional goals and objectives to improve that portion of the plan. And then we'll wrap that up by looking at what types of improvements or changes need to take place within the zoning ordinance itself related to transportation, those goals, or even the housing initiatives that are supported by the grant. Towards the end of the development of this document, and then towards the end of the document itself, we will consolidate the strategies and goals into what we call an action plan. And this is, again, a long-range schedule of different initiatives and actions that the community can take on. It will show where these goals and objectives relate to other goals within the plan, as well as giving some high-level priorities and cost estimates on what some of those activities may cost and how you can go about scheduling and prioritizing those. Our public participation plan, we include several activities. So we will start with putting together a community survey, which we'll need your assistance with disseminating and sharing that with the residents. We intend to host a field day or a community day where we come out to an event that you may have going on, and we kind of market and showcase the different elements of the plan, and we continue to gauge feedback. We also plan on holding a community workshop, so we'll be working with staff to locate and find the best location within the community to hold that kind of workshop, whether it's here or somewhere locally. And we actually hold activities. We run different scenarios of the plan, and then we have kind of breakout activities and goal-oriented sessions to kind of flesh out that input from the public. And then lastly, we'll also hold roundtable sessions, which again, we will either hold those here locally, or we'll identify different areas of the community where we can hold those discussions and activities. And then this is a schedule of those public engagement activities. So like I said, one of the first things we're going to do is kick off with the public survey, community survey. We'll be working with scheduling an activity around the Juneteenth. We plan on holding the open house sometime in July. We'll be scheduling the series of roundtables July through August. And then, as I mentioned, you can expect to have a draft, or we'll start to bring a draft version to you sometime around November. And then following the draft and the 63-day public period, which will run from November through the holiday season, and then we'll come back in the new year and work on our public hearings and adoptions. And again, just some more strategic issues we plan on highlighting within the plan. Some based on these that are in the existing master plan that we're going to continue to bring forward, but also some that come out of the Redevelopment Ready Community Best Practices and the Housing Readiness Initiative through MISHDA, the ones that are actually funding the master plan update itself. So we'll be looking at some redevelopment opportunities, including aspects of economic development that is often a very particular section within the plan. Housing is going to be a very large component of it, looking at affordable housing and strategies to increase the availability of housing within the community. We'll be looking at Michigan Ave and some improvements related to that corridor and transportation. And then again, we'll be kind of wrapping all that up with updates to your zoning ordinance and what changes we can make to make it more accessible and easier to read and understand. And then I'll give it back to Paul.
So very quickly, we started to do the first little bit of at our desk analysis, which is to collect and analyze demographics of the city related to the surrounding areas and over time, so that we can start to just get a sense of what's happening and anticipate what land use changes might be affected by those demographics. So according to the latest census data, the latest census estimates, the population of Inkster, although it has declined, if you're looking 30 years back, it has stabilized quite a bit, and it's projected to stay stable through 2050. So I think fundamentally that's good news. The sort of why we talk about that from a master plan context is to talk about future public service needs. From an age perspective, there is a higher percentage of family-forming aged individuals and residents in Inkster than there is in non-Detroit Wayne County. And the entire region is dealing with an aging or will be adapting to an aging population just because of population trends. But this is something unique to Inkster. And so what that says to us from a master plan perspective is looking for, in the economic development plan, talking about providing more employment opportunities, youth engagement, and housing for those that are looking to attain their first house. So there's, from a housing perspective, some of these sort of takeaways are probably not unknown to you, or you probably have, I don't think that there's anything surprising here. But basically, there has been a decrease in property values, and an increased tax burden on owners, and then at the same time, as they are in many other places, rents are skyrocketing. So that really talks about, from a land use perspective, the master plan process, and from a land use perspective, not everything is controlled. Not all these problems are completely solved. But we can start to study and put into place policies that can bolster the existing housing stock and look for opportunities to encourage quality housing options and housing attainability. So the next steps, we're here now. This is the official PC kickoff. We're happy to answer any questions and discuss the process with you. We will begin planning the public engagement in earnest. We kicked off with the staff in April. We started this analysis of sort of the first sort of pre-activities, but this sort of really signifies the beginning of our efforts in earnest, and we're looking forward to going on this journey with you. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Commissioners, at this time, do you have any questions for Mr. Urbio or Mr. Smith?
I have at least one for now. Some of these activities are due to start soon, June, and one that stands out, I think that has a specific date, like Juneteenth. So do you have like marketing materials already ready to go and you just need us to identify a location to have this field day, or?
So the idea there, we do need to confirm the details of that one, but the idea with the field day is that we join an event already in progress that has already been advertised, and we're just there to sort of take advantage of the crowd that's already coming, right? We will have the marketing materials that we will distribute will be well in advance of the July workshop. But yes, there's still some planning to do as far as marketing materials for that, but it's less time sensitive because the idea is that we will join an event already in progress.
I know that I would like to be able to promote that sooner rather than later, right? So that's why I asked if there was something that was readily available for us to use. And then, I'm sure we can inquire because there's actually a variety of events happening around Juneteenth. Even over these past couple city council meetings, there have been people who have been coming to promote these events. And so I think we have options, but then it's like once we identify what the best option is, it would be about, of course, this really quick turnaround to say that you'll be there.
Right.
Right.
Yes. And we also had floated the idea of the summer festival as well. I think it would just, once we confirm the date, you'll have the materials in short order and in time to sort of help advertise them. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I think just piggybacking on what you were saying, Commissioner, with regards to that, looking at just different options that is cost effective to the city. Because sometimes we lack at utilizing what's at our fingertips with social media, the way we market on social media, and even the streaming services as well. Because I know I'm not in Dearborn, but I'm on YouTube and I get Dearborn advertisements all the time. So, we have those options out there. It's just how we utilize them with the dollars that we have. So we just got to make sure we keep that part in mind too. Commissioner to my right, and then this. Okay. Let the record show Commissioner Tanya Williams is present with us. And do you have any questions at this time? Not this time? Okay. All righty. I'm actually going to go ahead, just because this is a kickoff. If there's anybody from the general public that has any questions right now, please feel free to approach and ask them to our presenters.
You guys have been. I'd like to some information. To be honest with you, I'm frustrated with 5-year plans because as long as I've been here, I've never seen one come to fruition where you're actually planning something and it's been obtainable and sustainable. We just keep giving lip service to it. And we're going to do this, and we're going to have a meeting, and we're going to do this. How many of the goals and objectives of the last 5-year plan have been met?
Only a few.
Which ones? And are they visual? Because you have to understand that people in certain areas, they want to see what is going on. They can't just take your word that everything's great here. They want to see where you said, we're going to establish this, and this is what that's going to look like when it's through. And like I said, I have been hearing and participating in surveys and situations since I moved here in 92. And I'm still waiting to see. So before I invest again in this type of thing, I would like something concrete other than, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that. And I know I sound bad, but that's the point I'm at. I'm a goal-oriented person. You set your sights, you accomplish the goal, then you move to the next stage. Mm-hmm. And that has not happened within these master plans that everybody keeps developing. So, like I said, I'd like to know what goals and objective has been met for that last one or even the one before it. I mean, in 10 years, something out of all of this should have been realized. And that's my comment.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else for the general public? All right. Seeing no movement here, none. Mr. Rubio?
Go ahead and answer.
That's why I was about to tell him to go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult thing, and I don't have a solid answer to how much has been implemented yet from the last plan. But the idea is that you are aspiring a generation ahead. What we will do is have that 5-year plan to achieve the agreed upon goals and objectives, and sort of with your input, with staff's input, prioritize them about what should happen first, and then, as Donovan said, some insight into who's going to need to cooperate and how the resources might come together to do that. But I guess I would just say the 5-year sort of updates are to course correct, or to acknowledge that some things can happen or some things were out of reach, and with a long time horizon in mind, sort of keep the high priority things current, which is why the guidance is to update them frequently.
In that, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Commissioner Williams.
Okay. I was also just going to add, I'm hoping that too, with our partnership or our involvement with the RRC, Development Ready Community Initiative, which requires us to report on an annual basis, will hopefully help alleviate some of the concerns about whether or not we're actually achieving some of these goals. And that we can report out and get on the same page communication-wise about what are we doing, what have those activities been, what are in progress, what's coming up. And I think perhaps some of that gap in being able to feel the change is because I don't know that we necessarily have a strong strategy for communicating it to residents on what's been going on. And I know that I'm making it one of my commitments to make sure that we're checking in on a consistent basis and reporting out and being transparent about what some of our activities are. And then it was part of the reason why I was asking about the marketing materials, because, this isn't putting it on you guys, but I also feel as if though the city has a habit of kind of putting things out late, and people don't have advance notice that these activities are going on and how to participate in them. And they're getting a lot of information after the fact. So kind of in response to her comment, I'm hoping that we can start shifting, towards we're actually doing things, and this is how we're doing it. And one of those ways of doing that is by submitting or putting out a regular progress report.
Two things in that. One is, when you get back to the office and you're able to track that information, could you just compile it as far as what Ms. Wiley was asking about the goals that we reached, and just get over to our planning department and or the commissioners, and that way we could disseminate that information to her and other residents who inquire. And then secondly, piggybacking on what Commissioner Williams just said, we were kind of talking about that because even though social media is good, or it has its advantages, it has its disadvantages. And what she said is basically what I agree with her on, is being proactive versus reactive, because Inkster, once something bad gets out there, it spreads like wildfire and you can't retract it. Once the good gets out there to counter it, being reactive is too late. The damage is done, and then nobody wants to know the truth at that point, because the negative story is better than the positive story. So just to that, with those check-ins and putting the information out there beforehand, just like, hey, example, we're going to update our master plan. This was what a master plan is. Please show up. I was like, oh, okay, this is what a master plan is versus updating the master plan. That's just a boring meeting I'm not going to. So, all right, commissioners. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Williams. Williams.
So, I think just getting a feel from Ms. Watley and our community as a whole with the master plan, and I mean, yes, there's goals and objectives and things that we want to see, a wish list, but I think what she's communicating, and I hear this all the time in our community, we need to be more realistic about what we can achieve rather than, there's nothing wrong with wishing, vision, goals. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think we as a community in this master plan moving forward, we have to be more realistic to what we can accomplish in that 5-year, 10-year, 15-year. Like you said, it's a generational plan. So I think Commissioner Williams is also very valid in the point that we need to get that information out in a more realistic way. Just like you said, it's a generational. So, and I've been here for probably 7 or 8 master plans, and first time I've ever heard anyone refer to it as a generational plan. And I think that needs to be open and explained a little bit better to the average person. Hell, I mean, quite honestly, to Inkster period, our officials, our residents, and to just bring it out to a place to where, hey, yes, this is where we want to see us in 5 years. This is where we want to see us in 10 years. This is where we want to see in 15. This is where we want to see in 20. Because 20 years ago, who would have known marijuana would have taken off the way it would have? We wouldn't have. And who would have known that, like, the pandemic exposed so much of how we were not functioning and how we weren't prepared. So I think with our master plan and developing it now, I think as a community, we want to see the master plan to be more realistic. And considering our budget, our restrictiveness of our budget, and the restriction of how funding can come in to do that. I mean, because you need funding to study it, you need funding to create it, and then you need funding, which more importantly, you can get it to study it. You can a lot of times get it to start it. You can even sometimes get the funding to finish it, but how do you get the funding to maintain it? So I think that moving forward, our master plan should be more realistic. I mean, there's nothing wrong with dreaming, but can we dream a little more realistic?
True.
And I think that's what Ms. Watley is trying to really communicate. We want to see something that we can realistically achieve. And if we can't achieve it in 5 years, okay, but say we're working towards this in 10, or we're working towards this in 15, or we're working towards this in 20.
All right, thank you. Anything further, commissioners?
I have a comment. My only comment is that I agree with Ms. Watley in that we need to see what was accomplished in the last master plan and the one previous to that, so that we can say, maybe we came up with 10 things that we wanted to see happen, but only 2 things were actually accomplished. And we need to see that and promote that and let people know we have accomplished some things, because it looks like we haven't accomplished anything.
Cool, thank you. All righty. If there's nothing further,
I'm sorry. Can I just say one other thing?
sure.
In talking about communication with the community, we just got cold break and it's working fabulous. Yes, but and like you were talking about the other places where people fear this and fear that, we need an Inkster dedicated information source. In other words, if it didn't come from this place, it's not true. I didn't see it here. It didn't happen. I grew up in East. I'm a this Inkster. I'm a that Inkster. And they put out all kinds of erroneous information that people take and, like you said, run with it. So we need to, let's say in that master plan, that we establish a dedicated Inkster information source. You go here for your Inkster information. And if it's not listed here, it doesn't exist.
Well, Ms. Wiley, before you return to your seat, that was part of the conversation that myself and Commissioner Williams had. How we could, I was tapping into her to see what resources or knowledge she had in that, because that was one of the sole things with social media is the verification of pages, to know this is the authentic page and this information has come in, now. And it's tough because we don't actually own those pages, but she actually was going to be looking in to see what she could find so we could begin that process.
And we don't have to own those pages. We just have to let everybody know that those pages are doing what they want to do, but not what Inkster City what's done, or not what Inkster City has authorized and is responsible.
And it's And it's really for our people too, incorporating the easiness of accessing the information. Because if they can't type it in Google and get it within 10 seconds, they don't necessarily want to dig deeper to uncover more information. So
More conversation.
you're absolutely right.
Make things easy for people. Whatever happened to personal responsibility? You want to know what's going on? This is why you gonna get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't go get it, then you don't want to know.
I wish
Thank you.
that I'm listening.
Yes.
I'll say
Expand
that
upon
comments
it.
then, yeah.
All righty. Thank you again, gentlemen. And we look forward to this.
Thank you.
Good. We are down to item number 5, which is first hearing of the public for items not scheduled for a public hearing, but on the agenda. Those items would be unfinished business for the special land use childcare facility at 337 Inkster Road, and then new business, which is a site plan for the proposed childcare center at Retail Plaza on 337 Inkster Road. So at this time, if there is anyone from the general public who wishes to speak to these matters, as they are not on the agenda for a public hearing, feel free to approach the podium at this time. Keeping in mind the items that are listed for public hearing will be open for discussion once the public hearing is open.
Are you ready?
So as we're gonna be.
Is this not the one we did last year where the conversation is that if she wants to be next to a marijuana facility, it's okay. But if they move next to her, it's not okay.
That's correct, right? Yeah.
All right. I guess that's the only... What happened to this? I guess my question is because
Gonna find out.
it hadn't been on... Oh, is that what you're getting ready to find out now?
Once we get to that under unfinished business, yes.
It's extremely ambiguous. We need to have one set of rules. You can't be within a certain area of a marijuana facility, period.
Right.
Because everything else confuses people, and that's why we've got the flower bowl up there now doing exactly what they want to do, even though they're within 500 feet of the facility.
So let's make a note of that once we get to it under unfinished business, because we do have to vote on that special land use and then under new business site plan. Of course, we're taking that particular concern down right now so we can further amplify on it. Mm-hmm. And then was there anything additional with that?
That was just the concern, because I think we have to have one standard set of rules that everybody follows, so they can't come in and think that this is going to change because it's what they want instead of what the city is requiring. Okay. And we've been inundated with this. So at some point, we have to be a lot more strict with how we process these things.
All righty, thank you. And if there's...
Okay, bye.
She's the outlook. Yeah, I know. I was just, well, so I was going to say yes, but we were actually going to have you speak during unfinished business when the actual item comes up for us to vote. So it's all up to you. Okay. Is there anybody else for the general public who wishes to speak about the agenda items not listed for a public hearing at this time? All right, and hearing none, we'll be moving down to the public hearing. Again, yours is after the public hearing under unfinished business and under new business. No problem, thank you. We're down to item number 6, public hearings. We have 2 this evening. Our case number 24-0, item 6A, case number 24-02, special land use to allow a smoking lounge at 29709 Michigan Avenue in the B3 General Business District. Is there a motion to open the public hearing for item number 6A? Motion to open public hearing.
Support.
It's been properly moved by Commissioner Davis and seconded by Commissioner McDaniel. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? If motion passes, public hearing now open for case number 6A. This is to conduct a public hearing for the consideration of a recommendation to the City Council regarding the proposed smoking lounge at 29709 Michigan Avenue. Mr. Dowdell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The proposed smoking lounge is in a B3 General Business District, excuse me. The applicant is Top Flight Entertainment. The site is the landing zone. what's to building? That's Flight Club, excuse me. And they're proposing to have a smoking lounge in a adult facility. And because it is a special land use requirement, even though it's an accessory to a special land use, it required a special public hearing. So the site is approximately 1.85 acres according to the Wayne County GIS system. It currently is an existing facility, special land that required a special land use, and it's 7,399 square feet, 2-story building, and with a parking lot associated. Its surrounding uses are to the north, the U-Haul rental business, north of Michigan Avenue. To the south, and there should be a correction, it is the R1B single-family residential, or the former Inkster High School vacant lot.
Gotcha.
To the east, there's a DTE substation, vacant land, and vacant land as well. It's a B3 general district, and to the west is retail business. B3 general business. So, in reviewing the special land use request, we look to see if it's in harmony with the master plan. According to the 2017 master plan, the subject site is part of the future land use designated as entertainment district, regional commercial, which permits a wide variety of retail and commercial uses. The services Inkster and the surrounding communities. The proposed use appears to align with the master plan, being that it's an entertainment district. This is another form of entertainment. Harmony with the existing character. There are no proposed changes to the existing building. It's just an accessory that's going to be added to the second floor. Improvement to community is an improvement to the community as far as it keeps providing economic stability for us in the form of taxes and things of that nature. Adequate public services and facilities. It seems like it will be able to sufficient to the vicinity as far as proposed community for the proposed facility. Smoke, fume, glare, noise, vibration, or odor pollution. As I said, this is an existing building already. It's going to be on the second floor. To my understanding, they have requirements that they have to do for a smoking lounge, and we have the applicant's representative here if you had any additional questions in regards to that.
Thank you, Mr. Dada. Or, I'm sorry, were you?
There's three more.
Okay, go right ahead.
Reduction in economic viability. It's an existing building, and it's better to have something in a building and being used and to be empty and not providing any viability to the city. The proposed use doesn't anticipate any excess or additional costs to public service. And lastly, it's consistent with the intent of the zoning ordinance. As I said, special land use is required for it to be used as what they're proposing, and it maintains the building, keeps things up to space. So with all that being said, the planning we recommend that the planning commission consider approval of the request for special land use, unless with the following that you have any other conditions that you may find necessary, and any comments or concerns or requirements raised by reviewing agencies that are successfully addressed.
Thank you. All right, and is the applicant present? Representative, I'm sorry. Hey, go ahead and state your name for the record for us.
Sorry, I'm the attorney for Flight Club. I did put in the site plan application. Not too much to add on to it. I don't really have much for you guys besides the fact that they have been compliant. Just to reiterate on a couple facts that he stated, it is a smoking lounge for hookah, and that would be the hookah tobacco. So just wanted to reiterate, there is no marijuana smoking in there or anything of that nature. It is a suite on the upstairs level. It is going to be completely blocked off from everything else. There is a state-of-the-art ventilation system already in place.
Everything's all ready to go. There's just a couple additions that need to be made. They've been in compliance. They will remain in compliance. Anything the city is looking for, they are willing to do. Other than that, I'm just here to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Thank you. Commissioners, I'm turning it over to you guys. Does anybody have any questions for the planning department and or the representative for the applicant at this time? So, Commissioner Hall and then Commissioner Williams.
So the hookah areas are strictly in that one area, not throughout the. Okay.
That is correct. It's in the upstairs level let's say if I'm facing, will be to the right-hand side, and it's a blocked off area by glass as well. So you can only smoke in that section, and there'll be a little bar area for the hookah products in that section only.
Good. All set? All right, Commissioner Williams.
655 square feet. So I'm assuming you guys have a limit on how many people can actually be in that room, correct?
Yes.
But what is the capacity?
At this time, we don't have it set up for the chairs. So there's like little booths up there right now. I want to say it's around like 100, maybe a little less at that point. I could get you guys that number a little later on if that's okay.
It's fine.
And you already mentioned the ventilation system, correct?
Correct.
And forgive me, but tobacco and hookah are the same license, that they're covered by the same license?
Yes, it depends on what tobacco exactly. So this is just a separate hookah license that would be coming through.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
See anything further? Commissioner Williams?
No, not at this time.
Okay, so Commissioner Williams to my right, and then Commissioner McDaniel.
Okay, so in regards to these, and I guess probably this question is more towards you. Is there any state regulations on hookah lounges?
If I'm not mistaken, Laura provides the license for hookah.
So once the city approves, I'm sorry if I may,
Yes, go ahead.
city approves and they are okay with it, you look for an actual state license with the state of Michigan, in which at this point it would be a transfer of the hookah license. Then it would come right back to the city.
So but it does have to go to Laura for the Kurt. All right, that's all.
That's all right, Commissioner McDaniel.
Yes, under the recommendations by the planners, by the department, the states provide a security plan. Can we have more information about that?
That's in regards to the site plan. They did not provide that in the site plan. So I'm saying conditionally they provide, and when I say security plan, that's all new businesses, or when you alter your business, you have to provide cameras on the outside, and it's the entrance way to the facility.
So you're saying we haven't received that yet, or
That's one of the conditions, yes.
what are the conditions? So we'll receive it? Are we going to receive it?
You can do a conditional approval with them providing me that information.
Yeah, and that's what we do sometimes is we will recommend approval with the recommendations from the planning commission, and then they basically review all of that, I believe, or make sure that's done and add it to the site plan. Is it in the DRT meeting, the development review team meeting, or?
Generally, what happens is we'll have a pre-development meeting or something of that nature. When they submit the plans, it'll go to building, it'll go to me, it'll go to DPS, and whoever's applicable for it. If there's something that is incorrect, they'll say, "Oh, that's not too bad, but we want to make sure that we get it."
Gotcha. Thank you. I'm at Commissioner McDaniel.
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Commissioners, anything else? Alrighty. I know one of my questions was about the separation of the hookah and I guess you could say the alcohol portion of the entity. As we know, they don't allow that. And so I'm glad you pointed that out. And then the second thing I was going to say to Mr. Dowdell, I'm glad that what Commissioner McDaniel brought up as speaking with the cameras and security system was in an effort to continue moving forward as advancements come out, that being a requirement. I know our PD and whatnot always need that, and I'm quite sure your security team as well, to make sure every inch is covered. So other than that, I don't have anything else at this time. This is a public hearing, so we're going to, of course, turn it over to the general public, allow them to approach and address this body and or you as the representative for the applicant to ask any questions and get those answered. Again, this is a public hearing right now, ladies and gentlemen, only for the special land use to allow a smoking lounge at 29709 Michigan Avenue in the B3 General Business District. If there's anyone from the general public who wishes to speak at this time about that item, please approach.
Well, you know you better was. Mr. Dowdell said additional taxes. Because they're putting a smoking lounge up, we're going to get more taxes for that building?
No, so much I meant as far as that the building is being utilized, so they pay taxes as opposed to
They're doing that now, so that's not a plus.
Okay, that's
Okay. The second thing is that this would fall under the smoking ordinance that we developed for the hookah lounge over on Middle Belt also.
Inkster Road.
Yeah, Worcester Road, yeah. Do we need to delve into that to see if what they're asking is compliant?
Yes, this would fall under that.
Okay.
Yes, this is the exact same type of entity that's on Inkster Road is what they're proposing.
It is proposing. Now, just to clarify, this is in the actual flight club. It's not that little building they built next to it, marijuana, that was too close to the next building they built for marijuana.
That's correct.
Okay, it's in that. All right.
And I drove down Michigan Avenue and verified the addresses myself.
Yeah, because, we've been dealing with a lot of stuff that doesn't turn out the way we thought it would.
Yes.
Right. Spoke to us, right, initially. So that's just why I'm clarifying those specific things. Those are my only two questions, except that in talking about a master plan and in talking about Inkster, we need to start deciding how we want us to look. In this situation, it's getting out of hand with all of these recreational things that necessarily the general public does not. I mean, the citizens do not necessarily whatever. So.
Okay, I was about to say we're veering off the public hearing for this particular item.
No, I'm talking about this.
Oh, okay, I got you.
All these other things we're getting.
I got you. Okay,
I'm saying, do we want to become this city?
got you. Thank you. And if there's anyone else from the general public that wishes to speak to this item only, feel free to approach. If not, go right ahead, Commissioner Blaze.
And just to be clear, the Fight Club is in a district that allows this, but the reason they have to come today is because they're modifying the building and we just have to, but smoking, tobacco, hookah, all that is allowed in this building.
the reason that they're coming here is because, like with the smoking ordinance, smoking lounge, that's special land use. And because they're asking to do that, we had to have a public hearing. But it's an accessory use to the adult entertainment, which is also special land use.
Okay, that's just one clear because she brought the smoking ordinance, so I just wanted to make sure that that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Commissioners, at this time, since there are no further questions from the public and no further questions from this body, the floor is open for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
It's been properly moved by Commissioner McDaniel and seconded by Commissioner Tanya Williams. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Public hearing now closed. Keep in mind, we do have to approve the special land use for this.
Yeah.
We recommend or approval or denial to City Council. The floor is open for a motion to approve or deny the special land use for the Smoky Lounge at 29709 Michigan Avenue in the B3 General Business District to City Council.
And that's with recommendations.
Yes. The floor is open, so whomever makes the motion, yes. With the recommendations per the planning department.
With the special, I make a recommendation that we open it up with the special part with the license, not the license, but the cameras and
Security plan.
security plane, what they have in the,
And 12 spoon bag to provide that.
yeah.
So just for clarity, you recommend approval of the special land use with the recommendations per the planning department with requiring the security camera,
Security plan.
security.
Their requirements plus the security plan.
Y'all got that documented correctly so we can read it back right? Want to make sure we're clear.
Let her finish it.
Okay.
That's what he meant.
All right. Is everybody under the same understanding of what this motion is?
Yes, and I second the motion.
All right. So it's been properly moved by Commissioner Davis and seconded by Commissioner McDaniel. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Yeah.
All opposed? Motion passes. The special land use is now approved for recommendation to City Council with the information that is duly noted. We're down to item, and Mr. Smith and Mr. Urbio, you are welcome to stay the rest of the meeting if you so choose. You do not have to if you have other places to be. No problem. So we're down to item 6B, public hearing. Case number 24-01. Text amendments to the city zoning ordinance being Chapter 155, Article 29. The floor is open for a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Support.
It's been properly moved by Commissioner Davis and seconded by Commissioner McDaniel. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes. The public hearing is now open. This is to review and have consideration of the recommendation of approval of a special land use request to allow for a specially designated distributor, SDD, and specially designated merchant, SDM, as well as substance abuse rehabilitation clinics in the B1 local business district. Ali, and I'm not going to mess up the last name, I will let him state that for the record, is the applicant, to include additional definitions and additional uses and standards. I'm sorry, did I call for the vote? It was moved and seconded, right?
Yes, by Davis and McDaniel.
Okay, but I'm sorry. And I call for the vote.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Public hearing now open. I've already stated the summary. Mr. Dowdell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as the position that I'm currently in, we have many people come in and ask for things and request things, and sometimes I'm able to lead them in the right direction, or sometimes based on the way the ordinance is written, I have to tell them, no, your proposed use is not going to be required because either we don't have a definition for it, or it's not allowed in the zoning ordinance zoning district that they're proposing. So just a quick story. The gentleman that he purchased it used to be a party store on the northwestern border on Henry Ruff, and he wanted to do alcohol. At one time, apparently, it did have alcohol, beer and wine, but when the zoning was changed, B1 was reorganized and things of that nature, that was taken out of the B1 district. So it wasn't allowed unless you were in existence at the time. So you'd be technically grandfathered by the term. Well, that facility had been closed for the time that which made it not be able to be grandfathered. Or it exists as a non-conforming use, but as long as it was in existence, it would be allowed to operate. Well, that being the case, the applicant decided that he was willing to pursue that, and so I sort of piggybacked off of him since he wanted to put the money up to change the ordinance. I might as well try to utilize some of the things that have come down across my desk. An example being the substance abuse clinic and adult daycare. So with that being said, we are proposing that some of the uses, liquor, beer, and alcohol, wine sales are only allowed in the B3 district as it exists right now, and substance abuse clinics are only allowed as a SLU in a B3 district. So that being the case, we wanted to look and see what if we were to change some of the uses, where will we change them at? And so for the sake of argument, we looked at liquor, beer, and wine sales in three other zoning districts: the Office 1, B1, B2, as well as the B3s. And they would be required by special land use as well. So that being the case, we came up with some definitions, i.e. the adult daycare. And I think we had substance abuse clinics listed, but we didn't have a definition for it. So we created a definition for it. And that being the case, we came to where we're at for additional uses and definitions. This was notified in the Telegram as a public use. And because it's not specifically in one place, we didn't have to notify anybody within the 300 square feet. So if you have any questions.
All right, thank you. Commissioners.
So at this time, I need clarity. Right now we're going over the definitions and the planning department's consideration of allowing some of these to exist in different districts that they aren't currently allowed in, correct? But then we'll eventually move on to the specific sites that are trying to get this changed.
Well, if the board decides, the commission decides that they're willing to move forward, that the applicant would have to come back and apply for special land use for the specific use.
So, for example, with the liquor, beer, and wine, we're referring to 1183 Henry Russ.
Not exactly so much doing for the text amendment, because as it's stated, it was not allowable use in a B1 district.
And B1 is residential, correct? Or
No, B1 is local business.
local business, gotcha.
Definition generally is something that something in the community, barbershops, things of that nature, something that would be in the community per se, where you wouldn't have to necessarily go all the way up to Michigan Avenue or somewhere of that nature.
And we're trying to,
We can put this to
I guess, what is the ultimate goal? To still consider it a special land use, but allow it in a different district?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's for your consideration.
That's all the questions I have so
far. Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioners, do you have anything else to share before go right ahead, Ms. Commissioner Williams.
To add on to her question, B1 you said would be considered like barbershops and what else? I mean, what else as it stands right now? So what the convenience store without listed we consider in a bit where was a general party store and there wasn't liquor, beer, and wine mixed.
A party store without liquor would be allowable in a B1 district.
Okay. So can you give me other, I think that's what I want to know. Can you give us other examples of what would be allowed and that in a B1 district right now without a special land use system?
Without special land use,
Yeah.
laundromats, like I said, a little restaurant to buy sandwiches, things of that nature.
A small food retailer?
Yes,
Okay.
things of that nature.
You said barber, it is
Farm supply, just little stores that are not going to be especially excessive in the volume of people coming and going.
that's all.
Okay. Commissioner Hall.
So the district we're talking about now is B1 as of right now.
As it stands. We're talking about D1s as overall, the overall.
Got you.
Not just Trump.
So what is building that specifically location is not a B1.
This area is B1.
So hold on 1 second, just for clarity. I think right now we're just talking about text amendments. We're not talking about specific entities, even though some are listed on here.
Okay.
We're talking about just the text. And I believe what Mr. Dowdell said, well, not believe, Mr. Dowdell did say, and I'm under the same purview, is that whomever in those districts decides once this either passes or fails, they would have to come back before, if it passed, they'd have to come back before us and city council for a special land use. If it failed, it just wouldn't be permitted.
is you need to consider allowing something like liquor, beer, substance abuse rehab, or adult daycare centers in these districts that don't otherwise allow it.
Right. Correct.
And then once we move forward with that, they would still need to do the special land use, but now they have that avenue or that space in order to act.
Correct.
Is what we're saying.
Specific to that site. It may be allowable in one place, but it might not just.
Yeah, based on the conditions and environment, right? And I think that's what I'm concerned about. I would like it to be on a case-by-case basis, but it also sounds like if we open this up, we may allow for things to exist in spaces we really don't want them.
So that's why the special loop, everything that we considered as far as the text amendment would require you to make that extra step. You have to come back with.
You still got to come back regardless. Okay.
Can we visit these text, like right now, can we visit the text amendments and have a little bit more time to thoroughly work them out?
Absolutely.
That's fine.
That's our job.
I would actually prefer that step first.
I was going to say to Commissioner, just real quick, Commissioner Hall, not to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
What happens in situations as such is sometimes when business applicants come into the city, not just our city, any city, and something's not zoned a particular way, they have the right to petition and pay for that petition for it to come before the Planning Commission and or the City Council. So that change could potentially happen so that they can continue moving forward versus, and sometimes they do it differently. They might petition first, then purchase their building, or they might purchase the building and then petition. But either way, yes, anybody from the city could do it. And sometimes we as a city do it too for the change of something we might want in the area that's not allowed per our ordinances at that time. I got you. Yep. But I'm going to let Commissioner Williams finish and then come to you, Commissioner Davis.
I'm essentially finished, but to summarize, I think my first step or preferred step would be to visit these text amendments and see if we can thoroughly work out definitions and maybe bring them back to the Planning Commission for consideration.
Now, are there all of them? I'm sorry, is that every one of these, or is it specific ones that you're looking at?
These that he's brought today, but perhaps there are other ones that I know he said that the reasons these came up was because he was getting these frequent applications for these types of business allowances, right? And then
we would get inquiries.
Inquiries, yeah.
Let's use an example. There is a former nursing home that's on
John the Daily.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And at one point, when the ordinance was changed, they took that component out, the nursing home. So you have this facility that technically is set up for that, but it
Can open it?
Mm-hmm.
And so then we brought it back. This board brought it back, but it was special land use. But when someone says drug rehabilitation center, well, that's not a nursing home.
Right. Right.
By definition, or even how you look at it. So that's why it was like, okay, well, maybe if somebody wanted to utilize that, and, it's saying, hey, their reasoning might be like that. Well, this might be somebody in the neighborhood that, and then their people can visit them and support them while they're trying to deal with their issues.
I think there's further opportunity here to examine or assess what we currently have, whether or not there's gaps in those definitions or future potential uses or things that used to be. And perhaps we need to maybe take some time to work that out and get feedback, and maybe there will be more added to the list, maybe there won't. But I think I would like to take the time to visit it first and then come back.
Okay.
If we could.
Well, I was going to say, since this one is particularly before us, let's handle these definitions first. And then, if there's anything that we need to update or enhance, further on, we could do that as well. Mm-hmm. But these specific items that has been given before us, let's, look at these, if you will, more so for any enhancements. But let's keep that at the forefront of our mind. Okay. And I'm just saying that because, for instance, Chapter 155 can be quite large.
Yeah.
And we just got these specific zones that we could just handle, right away.
And if I may, as you know, they just came from McKenna, just came from the master plan. as you go forward, as we have dialogue and conversations, like you said, it might be something that we're not seeing that as we discuss it, we say, hey,
Yeah,
you had the eureka moment.
exactly.
So,
Okay.
Cool. So, Commissioner Williams, you good for now?
I'm good.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have anything further at this time?
Yeah, because I was looking at
Oh, right. That's right. Go right ahead. I'm sorry, Commissioner Davis.
155, Article 29. Is that 10 page or is this the amendment of 1 page? If we're going to be looking at them compared to the local business district B1, which is section 155.045 B1. And then over here, you got the amendment of the zoning ordinance, chapter 155, article 29.
Article 29 is generally the definitions.
Definition, okay. So she was saying, do we want to see that? We want to see that, to visually see that so we can compare
All the definitions?
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Yes.
compare that with the B1 district. Because it's like certain spots, like Chisholm saying, that we make them go through because you look at the one building there, it's been vacant for years. So if it's something that can officially happen and get it back up to market, then that's probably be sufficient to work with.
Okay. So I want to say that I tried to pull from the proposed uses and then the I would say most of the stuff that I used was special land use, but I guess you're saying you want to see what the regular uses were.
Right, because this what you put on in the, what we got here, the B1 district, the proposed usage.
Yeah.
So if you got
Proposed special land uses, because these are all special land. These are not just, I could come in tomorrow and
Right.
and open up.
right,
So that's what, okay.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you probably used to seeing what those red strikeouts that we used to have, like this is what was there, this is what we're taking out, and this is what we're changing it to before we had to vote on the final document. Got you. Okay. Commissioner Williams?
And here's the problem that I say is that a problem for a very long time in our community here in the city of Inkster. Everything seems to be about special land use. And I think it's time for us to kind of start to maneuver away from that. And some things, yes, it's going to always have to be special land. There's some things, like you said, the tax things have been vacant for so long that what they were functioning as when they were open, they could, and a lot of times they want to come back and function as that again. But if it stopped functioning and the grandfather carved itself out, then those things need to be looked at again. So I agree with Commissioner Williams that we need to see exactly what, like, my question is, I don't know what exactly is currently
Right.
Right. Such the land use. Right. Well, I think I want to see the same thing. I would like to see what B1 in its entirety, what right now can technically operate in B1. If you're saying we could add these particular units in a B1 district and it still has some of the special land use, but I think I would like to know what can operate in B1 without this being a special land use.
Okay, great. That's what we're saying.
That's I want to know what currently can operate in a B1, and then maybe at that point, all of our districts that we currently have, maybe it is time to start reviewing
Right.
how it's currently currently set up as, see what can currently operate in those areas. And I mean, we have a lot of special land uses. It's time to start to go past the special land uses and to start concretely, like say, okay, convenience store, barbershop, little restaurant, beauty shop. Okay, cool, that's great. Well, they are all in our district. What can legally operate in those districts without special land use? I think there's more that and not operate without special.
It is. Yeah.
That's a special land use. I mean, so I would like to see that. What can our current land uses? What can we currently do in our land use without special land? That's about that.
Got you. Real quick, excuse me, and I don't recall who may or may not have sent it out. I think you may have worked on it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Williams. But as far as like land use maps and all of that stuff for welcome and pack, was that what kind of sort of got worked on earlier this year, maybe? Or
We haven't gotten to the maps part.
Okay.
No, we haven't, but it is on the list.
it's on the list. Okay,
Yes.
so with like the table and definitions and all the stuff. Okay, all right. Because I remember in the past going over something similar. So I just wanted to make sure, because what Commissioner Williams is asking for is just a tool that can be readily available.
Yeah.
I know sometimes on a website I have directed applicants to it, or been in the clerk's office and they had a maps. We see the maps of the planning department and stuff like that too. But okay, we all on the same page. I understand what you're exactly asking for. Okay. Somebody else. Oh, Commissioner.
Yeah, we should have some implemented where we do this special land use, so we didn't gave this person this building, and then a year later, it's still vacant. We need something. So, okay, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. We need something to be in there that if you ain't did this by this time, it's gotta go. Something gotta be done with it, because we got a couple of builders that we didn't gave people planning and went into, okay, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this there, but they're still empty.
Yeah.
Ain't done that door.
And I think, and Mr. Dowdell could probably speak to this more, or if anyone was here from the business, not business, the building department, they would be able to speak to how that process more so looks. And I know there's some entities in the city where they might not have went through the process and they just got the building, and everybody, including us sitting up here, like, okay, what's going on with it? And we've been waiting on them to move forward. I know people ask a lot of times about the stuff on Michigan Avenue and Inkster Road, and they are pushing for us to have something to make us go forward. But anyway, I get it. That's a different conversation with the public hearing about this particular subject matter right now. So let's not go away from that, but we will touch base on that, maybe under miscellaneous. Okay. Public hearing. So commissioners, if you don't have anything else at this time about the text amendments, to the city zoning ordinance being chapter 155, article 29, we're going to go ahead and open it up for the public to approach. And that was our last public hearing. This is the second one. So at this time, if there's anyone who wishes to speak during the public hearing for specifically these text amendments to the zoning ordinance being chapter 155, article 29, and that's really what you just heard us discussing ad nauseum about the substance abuse rehab clinics in the B1 local business district, SDM, specially designated merchant, and specially designated distributor, SDD. Please approach at this time for those subject matters. Hello. Gonna get your steps in today.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, first of all, I would like to know why they weren't allowed in B1 to begin.
That's a question I can't definitively answer.
Reason. If they said this, and this is not allowed in B1, there had to be some sort of substantial reason as to why they wouldn't do.
Like change somewhere along the line.
Somewhere along the line, change. Someone said, "Hey, I don't."
We don't know.
That's correct.
That's first.
What we could do is let's look back at the last master plan was adopted in what, 2016, 2017?
2017.
2017. We could just look and see prior then if it was even included in that particular time.
So that people do you have asking to put just type of things in the tree one district? Is this a mass of people? I mean, is this going to significantly enhance or do something great for the city?
Well, it's been more than one. I want to say it's been at least four or five
that want
roughly
done for their benefit, and there is no substantial reason why we should say yes, since we've already said no a while ago, that we don't know why we said no, but we're going to go ahead and do it.
That's
So he said,
the interpretation.
I don't.
no, this is a recap. He said, hold on. He said, so tentatively about 4 or 5 a month have been asking, And then the text amendments, yes, that is for any of the text amendments is open to the general public or any business applicant to come in. And we've talked about it before in the past where we looked at it as spot zoning.
Right.
But I'm not calling it that, but we've looked at it like that.
Yeah, right.
No, yeah, spot zoning.
I'm just saying that we need to start thinking what benefits us, period. And if there's not, it's a financial reason as to why we do it, then don't do it.
Yeah.
To me, that's some.
All right, thank you. So right ahead, Matt.
This is hot in regards to the daycare. What I would like to say is any business coming to the city of Inkster, investing their money, that is beneficial to the community. Look at the code. You have all these vacant buildings. No, I mean, let me be positive. It is very tedious to come into the city of Inkster and open a business. It is extremely hard. So, as a business owner myself, why would we want to keep fighting battles to come open up something in the city of Inkster, other than the fact that we love the city of Inkster or we love, our people? Any business that's not a marijuana or not a smoke shop, or is not something that's polluting or bringing violence is a plus. So I don't understand how the city would not benefit from opening or allowing someone to come in and submit. Although I do agree with you about all the special land uses, because they are, in my opinion, I agree, especially the fees and the prices. Like Inkster has a shaky foundation here, yet it's the most expensive to come in and apply to open up businesses. So if you have someone come in or they have a building or have a spot that they want to rent out or purchase or whatever and say, oh, well, I want to open up a rehab center. We need rehab centers. Or I want to open up a restaurant. That's food for the community. Even if you guys decide to say, okay, well, if you open up this business, you have to do a certain amount of donating, or you have to give coats back to the children. Like, it's okay to have, and I'm saying this because I keep hearing people say, how is it beneficial to the community? Like, in other words, it's more rewarding to the individual to open up the business than it is to the community, where it's probably a balance. It's kind of hard to make money in Inkster, I'm just being honest. So if you come open up a restaurant, it's kind of hard to bring people to Inkster for that restaurant. It is. So I think, just consider that. So,
thank you. And just piggybacking on what she was talking about, like kind of sort of with the text amendments, when she mentioned the rehab center, it clicked in my head. Just want to remind you all too, even if we get to a text amendment and there's like 4 different things, we don't have to approve every single one. We can modify that text amendment and move forward and then maybe revisit that subject matter at a later time. Because maybe there is some type of uneasiness for that particular subject. Because I'm going to just be honest, in my head, when I was sitting there looking and I was like, I saw alcohol and then I saw something else and then I saw substance abuse. I'm like, how are these going to be next door to each other? But then it clicked and said, that's just a text amendment. That is not what they're proposing at each one of the, buildings. Yeah, facilities, exactly. So I just wanted to keep that all and keep that on the forefront of your mind as well, because we do that sometimes when we do make changes to text amendments. And sometimes when we make changes, when we approve or recommend for approval or denial with special land uses and we approve site plan. So that is something we can do if we, however we move. We could take something out, revisit it at a later time, but move forward with the rest of the items. And of course, this is still a public hearing. So if there's anyone else from the general public who wishes to approach to speak about that particular matter, feel free to do so at this time. And it's not.
So you talk about.
Oh, I was just looking around. I was just scanning the room. If not, then commissioners, do you have any final comments before we close this public hearing? Commissioner Williams.
I just have a comment. And basically, our goal as a community, and yes, young lady, we have had that image of being harder to open up business in the city of Inkster. And it's because of some of the turnover that we've experienced over the years and the direction that we need to go in. And moving forward, that's what the image that we're trying to recreate and evolve into a stability that is more friendly towards successful, beneficial entities to our communities. Like, we've had this influx of the cannabis industry. We've had this influx of the poker industry and what you would call the recreational industry. But that's just something that the entire United States is experiencing, that when those new entities are coming in. So that's the growing pains that as a community we're experiencing now. And I mean, let's just be honest. Some of these businesses that have been shut down over the years, they might have been in places that they really shouldn't have been in the first place. And they got grandfathered in back then because there was no planning commission. There wasn't a planning department, and Inkster became a city in 1962, 3, 4, something like that. So there, and something else too, it was like I saw the one entity would operate for over 50 years. Like, yeah, it operated with Portuguese was important. So some of those grandfathering costs, things that have come about over time, or they shut down. And yeah, at that point now, it is time for the community and it's time for the state to reevaluate and see if we want to bring back some of those entities that might have come in that really should have been there in the first place, but there wasn't a structure there to guide. So now, based in 2024, we need to move forward and direct Inkster's path that will benefit both the community, the city as a whole, and its beneficiaries, whether it be owners, the business owners, the customers, whatever the case may be. It has to strike an equal, productive, beneficial balance.
Alrighty. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry. You want to show us?
Just quickly, the comment was going to be, I think we are all aware that there's a variety of pain points that residents are experiencing, and that includes opening up businesses. And I think part of hopefully addressing that includes reviewing these ordinances, updating them, and we are in the process of streamlining and strengthening our internal review systems so that opening a business here is transparent, it's reliable, you know who your point of contacts are, and you can follow up. But when it comes to the requirements and site plan and checking off all these things, we're comparable to other cities in those requirements. We're just hoping that we can make it a less painful process by offering opportunities for even a pre-application meeting so you can discuss what your ideas are for that building. And I think hopefully we can start encouraging people to review what the building that they're buying is for before they buy it. And that way they're not coming in after the fact trying to turn, the horse into a unicorn, and then that's all I have to say.
Or if you're going into a grandfather building.
Right.
Yeah. They're going into a building that we used to operate as this. Well, we used to operate like this. It's don't operate like that now. It did lock and burn. But I think that's really important.
Okay.
Like you said, that
pre-application meeting. Yeah.
Would be a great resource to let them know before they go into any further. Okay, yeah, it might have operated like that in the past, but it's not going to operate like that now.
Yes, and whether or not you want to put your dollars towards purchasing it and any renovations or updates or things you have to do, to make it what it's zoned for. And so that is actually currently in the works. And as I mentioned earlier, I've been making it my personal mission to make sure that we're going to be regularly updating the community, both here and at City Council, and hopefully other avenues so that you guys know what we're doing and when we're doing it.
Cool. All right. Thank you, commissioners. I might have saw some movement in the crowd. I'm not sure. Yes, sir. Please approach. Was this about the public hearing?
Yes, I was a representative with convenience stores. I wasn't sure about that.
Got you. And the applicant is, can someone pronounce the last name for me? Ali?
Howard.
Alsa Maui? Okay. Yes, because this all kind of goes in line with each other. So yes, go ahead.
I appreciate your time. Well, first, I'd like to address, we were talking about, or you guys were talking about, what B1 actually encompasses. So luckily, I happened to write it down. So what B1 states is generally recognized retail businesses which supply commodities on the premises for persons residing in adjacent residential areas, such as but not limited to groceries, meats, dairy products, baked goods or other foods, drugs, dry goods, clothing and notions. I'm not sure what notions are, but or hardware.
Old school terminology.
Yeah, I guess so. Too old school for me. And then it also states that all business establishments shall be retail or service establishments dealing directly with consumers. So that's just kind of a general what B1 is. What we're asking for is either that to be amended to include the sale of alcohol on premises, not consumption, just the sale, or in the alternative, we were asking for, I hate to say the special use term that we were talking about earlier, but adding a special use stating for convenience stores that sell alcohol, but do not allow consumption of alcohol on the premises. Yeah. So that's what we would be looking for. And as was previously stated, there was a party store, it was called Frank's Party Store, that was at this location on Henry Ruff for, I believe, about 50 years. And it shut down either 20 or 25 years ago, and that building had been boarded up ever since. And, you know, it is my understanding that in that time, the zoning rules changed. And so it was, you know, so B1 now, you know, I don't know if B1 included alcohol previously and it was removed, or if it was zoned as something else, but it changed. And so now the current owners of the store, you know, obviously would like to bring back the alcohol sales because this is going to be a convenience store. Convenience is important. People like one-stop shopping. I mean, to be quite frank, the actual profit margin on alcohol sales is very slim. State regulates it. They don't make a whole lot of money off of it. But what it does do is that it helps bring people to the store. Instead of going, you know, if someone wanted to have wine with their dinner, you know, they're going to go to Meijer. And now maybe they go get the hot food from Meijer instead of getting the hot food for dinner from the convenience store, because that's where they're going to go buy their wine. So what we're looking to do is to create an anchor store in this plaza that has been since boarded up, where people can do one-stop shopping. You know, think a step up from a 7-Eleven, not quite a full, you know, Kroger, but somewhere in between the 7-Eleven and a Kroger. You know, you're going to be able to get your hot foods. You're going to be able to get pop. You're going to be able to get snacks, things like that. And of course, we're asking to sell alcohol on the premises also, because again, that's going to drive people to coming there. A couple of things that I heard mentioned here. Now, I mean, this is my first meeting here in the city of Inkster, but one thing that seemed to be an issue is broken promises. People saying, oh, you know, grant us this special land use, let us zone for this, and we're going to do X, Y, and Z for you. But, you know, 2 years later, you don't have anything done. You know, that's not how my clients operate. I did bring some pictures because I think that illustrates better than what my words are. So this is the building, before picture and after picture. Right?
You can show the general audience as well.
So they purchased the building, looked like that. Now it looks like this. There's no picture of the inside, but I've been in there myself, and it looks very nice so far. There are a bunch of state-of-the-art brand new coolers that go all along the walls. It has a nice, like, gray tile-type floor. It looks good. Here's the back of the building, before and after. Again, significant work has been done here. So they're working it. And they have a liquor license under contract. I mean, pending city approval at this point, pending approval of, you know, either rezoning or getting a special land use to operate as a convenience store that sells alcohol as well. So they're ready to go. I mean, this is something that's going to be up and running within a couple of weeks at this point. You know, this isn't something, well, next month, next year, et cetera. We're ready to go. And the key to this plaza, and I don't know if you could tell from the pictures, it's not just the party store or former Frank's Party Store and our quick corner convenience stores, but there are 4 different storefronts here. So we're already in talks to have a pizza place in there. We've talked about possibly a laundromat or a barber shop and also an ice cream shop. That's the thought here. And can't see it from this picture, but across the street this way, that's where the neighborhood starts.
Yeah.
So in my mind, they've taken a dilapidated building that was bringing in no tax money to you guys. They've built it up. It looks pretty nice. We put a few stores in there. All of a sudden, you have some pretty good tax revenue. And in my opinion, I do a lot of real estate law. You're going to increase the value of the properties surrounding that area as well. It's a convenient place that a lot of people can walk to. You're going to create a lot of foot traffic in the area. By doing so, it kind of changes the feel of the community. Instead of everyone driving around in their cars, going to Meyer to do this, do that, now you have people out and about walking around, and it kind of gives, I think, more of a community spirit for the people who live there. So I think that, one, this is something that's going to immediately help the city, specifically that community. Two, they've done most of the hard work at this point, just a matter of getting the food in there. And three, another thing that I heard talking about is what's the benefit to the community? Obviously my clients are hoping to gain a benefit here. They're hoping to make some money off their store. Why else would they open it? But as far as to the community, you're talking about 4 new stores in this neighborhood. You're talking about jobs for people to run those stores. You're talking about an increase in property value for everything around it. You're talking about the city getting tax money now from that plaza, which has sat vacant forever. The eyesore is now gone from that area. As I mentioned before, I think you develop a little bit of a sense of community with, more foot traffic, people in the area. All of those, I think everyone stands to benefit from that. I'm not trying to say, hey, we're just do-gooders out here trying to, help everyone else out. Obviously, we get a benefit, or my clients get a benefit from this as well. But I think it's a win-win for everybody. Now, whether you guys want to change what B1 means, or whether you want to make this a special land use under B1, like you did with, I noticed in my reading, with some of the medical marijuana places. There was also another liquor shop, or there was an actual liquor shop, but it refers to itself as that Harrison Liquor, which I believe is also in a B1 area, but obtained a special land use to operate. That's a liquor store. That's not what we're doing here. This is a convenience store that sells liquor. If we don't have the ability to sell alcohol here, then there's a major concern whether that store can survive, because again, I think people are going to be going to other places to do one-stop shopping. And then if that doesn't survive, then the other 3 stores in the plaza certainly won't survive either. So by doing this, I think you definitely benefit the community in multiple ways, financially, and just as a means of fellowship among people who are living in the area. And again, this isn't a situation where you're going to have to worry about a broken promise. We're ready to go. This place is a couple of weeks. We're ready to go. So put that out there to you guys.
All righty. Thank you for that. And commissioners, again, we heard them thoroughly. And again, however we decide to proceed forward, recommend approval, denial, tabling, because I know there was some unreadiness with certain things. That's all at the discretion, of this body. But Commissioner Davis, I believe you do.
Yeah, well, you had mentioned Harrison compared to that store. That store over there had always been a beer and wine. Harrison was always liquor store and beer and wine, but that store that area never had a liquor license in it. It was always beer and wine.
At the Frank's party shop?
Yes, the one had, yeah. That's the difference in there. Now, where they committed, how they gonna go through things, I don't know, but that was in that area.
Okay.
In area, okay.
We should have a breath other than Harrison things and just stick to the RNA. I know
He said that.
It wasn't ever strange.
And okay, that makes sense. And I think I want to say that whoever old Franks had passed away, and that kind of led to
different people having it. It went through a couple of years before it just went dormant.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And I guess that actually leads into one other point. These guys this isn't their first rodeo. Okay. They've been doing this for a while in their individual capacities. Sam over there on the left, I mean, he's worked in convenience stores his whole life. He has rebuilt at least 2 different convenience stores that I can think of, one on Vaughn Street in Detroit and one on Greenfield and Southfield, and took them from being not so great places into thriving stores. So you have people who know what they're doing coming in here. It's not just, oh, we're going to come in and open in a shop and we'll see what happens. They know what they're doing.
Cool.
Commissioner Williams.
So I'm familiar with the area. I actually grew up in that area, and Frank's Party Store was someplace that I would stop by on my way to the bus stop, which was at Voss Park, which, as you guys probably know, is literally right down the street, because Frank's was right off of Henry Ruff and Glenwood, essentially. I know that you said that wine and beer are not going to be your primary sales, but when I hear convenience store, other concerns that I have include the fact that it's usually highly processed, quick, convenient foods. So, for example, Black and low-income neighborhoods have 2 times more convenience stores compared to higher-income neighborhoods. Elementary school children are likely to stop at a convenience store twice a day. And older middle school and high school, me being one of them, would do it at least twice a week. And most of the things that they're purchasing are candy, pop, chips, not nutritious things at all. So I know that you said that beer and wine could be a driver for your customer base, but quite frankly, data shows that your primary customer base will be children or the youth that live in the neighborhood, especially when you have Voss Park right down the street, less than a mile away. And so is any of the goods being sold, like, will it also include tobacco? Because I know you said alcohol, but will tobacco be one of them? I have a few questions, but I won't ramble them off. I'll at least ask one by one. Okay.
Yes, they intend to sell tobacco. No, they do not intend to sell it to kids.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding highly processed food, I mean, that's something that hits home with me for sure. Kids are going to eat candy. That's going to happen. But there are also other options there. I mean, the odds that a kid grabs the banana or an apple instead of the Sour Patch Kids, I don't know. It's not super likely. But those options are available. And we're also talking about hot food that's going to be prepared. That's not going to be prepackaged Stouffer's type stuff. That's going to be homemade foods that are, going to be sold. People can go and get their dinners from there. And we're not talking about microwave dinners, things like that. So, in no way, would we ever be able to address the concern of kids going and getting candy and pop. I mean, I try to watch my kids from getting candy and pop. It doesn't work. But what we can do is provide other options as well. And hopefully that would lead to kids making better choices. Also, if that park's there, we're hoping that maybe kids are there with parents, and then maybe parents can also guide the children into maybe getting the healthier snacks. Hey, maybe we go for the apple and the banana this time instead of, the Sour Patch Kids and the Sprite. That is an option. There will be juices that are available there. Although, juices have a lot of sugar in it too. But, there are, like I said, there are options there. I don't think, God, this is going to sound bad, but kids like candy. They're going to get candy somehow.
So go ahead.
But, we'll at least have other options there for them. And this will be a good environment for kids to go to if they choose to do that.
So
I'm going to interject.
Okay.
Because I know we kind of started getting off the text amendment subject matters. At the time we did, see the sweet and stuff. So we're going to hold on to those for a minute. Because we did start getting into the items in the store itself, but we haven't even approved or anything.
Well, they're on the agenda, right? So are we getting to the? No, they're not. Oh, okay. Because I read the narrative.
Right. So it's confusing. It was in there, but on the agenda, that's only to be voted on for the
Text.
for the text.
Okay, so tell me, advise me or provide me guidance on giving feedback based on this narratives that we received, because I do have questions.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Dale, please address.
Yes, okay.
As far as the narrative, because they were the ones that paid for the text amendment, I just was giving you a little bit of history.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's so that's where that comes from. So I apologize for that if it was confusing. But as it stands right now, a corner store isn't allowable use in a B1. So, like you said, we're starting to kind of veer.
And that's my bad. But I got confused based on the fact that we had this letter or narrative about what this store was going to potentially be. And so I was asking follow-up questions based on that document that we received. But if we're just doing text amendments and addressing that, then I will recall my questions.
One of the applicant does ask for a text amendment. We ask them to fill out with their why they feel that they need to change the text amendment.
And then I was essentially responding to that. But it does bring up a good point about the text in regards to food and beverage retailers or alcohol, liquor, beverage, however you defined it, because there is a difference between off-premise and on-premise retailers that sell liquor or spirits, beer, and wine. And so do we even have that addressed as to whether or not, the definition includes both those things?
Generally, our ordinance has definition if you're drinking on premises, it's a bar.
Okay.
Things of that nature. But the DD, the two other uses as well as bar, as far as beer, wine, and what you call it, the DS was the SDS,
SDD and SDM.
Those are defined in Article 29, but we did not have a definition for the beer, wine, within alcohol, beer, and wine, and so that's where.
Okay, sorry about that.
No,
I was responding to the narrative, but
You good?
But go ahead.
I just noticed we weren't voting specifically on that. Just to
Yes, I got you.
and being that, and this is kind of sort of my fault that we did have him come up and speak, and I know it probably sparked more things from. I saw Ms. Diamond was making a motion, so please do come up because this is a public hearing and. Yes.
To be very quick, I don't it was my own concern would be opening yet another store or retail place of business that would be the downfall of people. I look in Dearborn, you have to go so far out to see a liquor store or a beer and wine store. Is like none around. They have a store where, if you ride through Dearborn, it's very sudden. I don't want to speak exactly, but Inkster has a lot of liquor stores, more than enough to accommodate everybody in Inkster, beer and wine as well. And having another liquor store or a beer and wine store will bring more violence. They can say all day long they're not going to drink, but we all know people before they leave the store, getting in the car, they're opening
The beverages.
Mm-hmm. So my recommendation would be to maybe a tropical smoothie store or bring something to the environment, especially since they have the funds or the credit, I'm assuming, to bring a successful business to the city of Inkster. Bring something that would be more beneficial to the community opposed to beneficial to themselves. Another thing is, too, with the liquor stores and the beer wine stores, the candy stores and whatnot, now we're using bridge cards nine times out of 10. So it's like they're going to benefit from low income who already can't afford to. That's where I'm at with that. So, it's your city, is your call, but I definitely believe that would be going in the opposite direction of trying to bring more positivity to the city. Smoke shops, marijuana shops, beer, wine, and liquor. Yes, it will bring funding to the retailer, but it's going to bring violence to Inkster, in my opinion.
Ms. Diamond, wanted to expand upon that one sentence or statement you said is, your call, your city is our call, our city. And that's what, Councilman Wiley, former Councilman Wiley always says this, what is the point of the public hearing if the public doesn't show up? Mm-hmm. And you guys are the public tonight. And so when you speak those matters, regardless of how they are, whatever they are, it does speak for the public. So it's not just our call. We do have to take into consideration what the public that does show up is saying. And then sometimes there's some that don't, because I was looking on Facebook when the conversations were asked to different people about what they think should go in there. And I'm gonna just be honest, some of our people are nearsighted. And when I say nearsighted, because they only can regurgitate what they are already used to and what they see. Anything else, like you said, when you go through Dearborn and stuff like that, and I've been blessed enough to be traveling through all these different communities and see those different things and frequent those places, they're not exposed to it. And it's just like people who travel and they go out, take pictures and post them, and they show all these glorious things of how society outside of the United States is and how they're much more appreciated in different countries than they are in their own communities. But sometimes our people can't afford that opportunity or never been afforded it, and they don't know, and this is what they're accustomed to. So I just wanted to piggyback on that and say thank you. And it's all of us collectively how we move forward in this. And again, because this was a public hearing, and we didn't necessarily have them speak at that time to give that information, we're still keeping it open. So Ms. Williams and anybody else from the general public.
I was going to respond to her comment or piggyback off of it as well. She mentioned having enough liquor stores. So within that location, within a 15-minute walk, you have Andrew Liquor right there on Cherry Hill and Middlebelt. You have Cherry Belt Party Store, Cherry Hill and Middlebelt. You have Metro Liquor, Inkster Cherry. You have the 7-Eleven right there on Merriman and Palmer. As soon as you pass the park, you have Leon's Party. Like as you mentioned, there's opportunities for alcohol consumption. And then the other response was to the data related to having alcohol-dense communities. And there is a direct correlation with increased noise, property damage, violence, and there's even case studies in similar neighborhoods in which when they reduce the density of alcohol within these neighborhoods by as little as 3%, they saw a twofold in the decrease in other things, including the ones that I just mentioned, like noise and property damage and violence, et cetera. So I just wanted to put that out there in terms of her, statement and responding to it. And that's it for me.
All righty. Thank you, Ms. Williams. And of course, we are at Ms. Wiley, please approach.
One question, because when I tried to do all the discussing, it seemed to me that you were going to do some more research and you came back and did that. Just want to make sure that that's the case.
Yes, that's the case.
Good. So you're not going to take any action. The other thing is that he mentioned all these other things that they could put within that plaza. And these other things can absolutely not happen without liquor.
No, they can't happen.
Right.
Without, I'm sorry.
That's the linchpin that makes this happen.
Right. We'll let him.
Yes.
Yes.
What he said. All this other stuff can't happen without the liquor component.
Because the convenience store would act as the anchor for the whole plaza. And the fear, whether we like it or not, people are going to try. And if the people in the neighborhood can walk across the street to do that and do the rest of their shopping there, then that's going to help build up the area, build up the plaza. You have the anchor of that store, then you're going to have 3 other shops that are going to benefit from that. Anyone who goes to the convenience store will see what else is available there. They'll see the ice cream shop. They'll see the laundromat, whatever, and the pizza shop, actually. So all of that will be in there. But again, those are smaller businesses that usually don't survive on their own, especially if they're not giant chains. And I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to have giant chains all the time. I think you need local places, local hangouts. And the unfortunate reality is, in order to help bring people to that area, you need a convenience store. You need some sort of an anchor shop.
Okay.
That's going to bring.
So minus the hyperbole, the answer is no. It won't happen without the liquor.
Are you asking as that?
He's telling me all these wonderful flowery things, but the bottom line is, without the liquor, no flowers.
Based on our research, if this is just a convenience store that doesn't sell alcohol, it's not going to survive.
Okay, thank you. My question. And let's not forget how unsuccessful we've been in keeping Lucy's from being sold to our children from all of these gas stations and convenience stores.
All righty, thank you. And at this time, we're moving into 8:30ish, so we're going to go ahead and get ready to close the public hearing. The floor is open for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing.
Support.
It's been properly moved by Commissioner Davis and seconded by Commissioner McDaniel. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Public hearing now closed. We do have to take a vote on these matters about the text amendments, right? So the floor is open for a motion regarding the text amendments. However, this body wishes to move at this time.
Motion is to revisit the text amendment
You're gonna, the motion speak to text.
to table. Okay.
Yep.
So I motion to table the text amendment.
Support.
It's been properly moved and so by Commissioner Williams, Ashley Williams, and seconded by Commissioner McDaniel. Discussion.
There's no discussion on the table.
Well, do we want to put a date on it? Or do we want to bring it up at the next meeting, which isn't until the end of June?
That should be part of your motion.
That's why I brought up discussion.
Is there, okay, so maybe I need your feedback. In between now and the next meeting, is there correspondence that can happen with this body and you to discuss, to receive the information that we talked about, which was what were the definitions of allowable uses in the B1 district, and then the special land use definitions, and then time to review, and then time to give feedback, and then time to, because that's what we said we want to do essentially, right? So what will be a reasonable timetable for that?
So I was looking at the calendar. June 10th is the second Monday, which we know we don't have any announced planning commission meetings on. And then June 17th 24th is the last Monday or the fourth Monday of the month. So, Mr. Dowdell?
Well, the definitions as well as the uses are in our ordinance, so that's not a problem getting them together. It's just a matter of if we're going to have a meeting or not.
Do we need to have a special meeting for this, or is that something we can correspond, like an email, or I would need?
I think this part is just informational to be
Right.
what you all are requesting being forwarded from the planning department to all of us. Because, of course, any matters to be taken up will be taken up at the meeting itself. So it's just a fact of the matter of getting the information, reviewing it, being prepared to submit your suggestions directly from one commissioner to the planning department,
Right.
not to all of us. So what's, I guess, the consensus of the group? What is ample time?
Between now and next meeting, yeah.
So June 10th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then with that being said, would you like to make an amendment to your motion?
Okay. So I am making a amendment to motion. Amendment
To your motion.
To table the text amendments to review and provide feedback by June 10th.
Yep.
And then that's not our meeting date though, right? Are we going to
not.
put it on the agenda for that meeting?
Then we would make a public notice
Okay.
and all of that good stuff for that.
Did I make the motion, or I still need to add more words to?
No, that's fine. And now we need to make sure we still have support. Okay, we still have support. All right. Questions? You all had
Special meeting will just be moving.
basically that would be like a special meeting of the planning commission. Originally, our thing was we had planning commission meetings every second and fourth Monday of the month, and that was just common practice. When McKenna came in, and we got to the point where we were canceling almost every second meeting of the month, every first meeting of the month, which was on the second Monday, it was efficient of us, or being good stewards of our time and the public's time, to just go ahead and adopt a new calendar where we only met on the fourth Monday of the month, which is the second planning commission meeting. And then that way it was announced at the beginning of the year, and we only had to worry about being there for those particular Mondays. Those Mondays are still open though, because the consensus of the group was if we needed to have any trainings or if we needed to schedule any special meetings as such, we would be able to call on doing that, because regardless of the fact, we originally were going to be here anyway, or putting out notice saying this meeting is canceled. And so In that case, yep, it would be a special meeting of the planning commission, as long as we announce it entire.
Okay.
So
So
go right ahead, Mr. Dutto.
what you're saying is we'll defer this to.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
There's no discussion.
I'm sorry. There's no more discussion. We're not even supposed to be discussing on it. I'm sorry.
Discussing anything.
We can talk about it in miscellaneous. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And
Good question.
we.
I just was wondering, did we necessarily really have to wait to June 10th, or we could just have it at the last meeting?
Next meeting of what?
I think the consensus of the group was June 10th instead of the last meeting. That's all.
Okay. I just thought I'd ask.
No problem. All right, we're down to item number 7. Unfinished business. Case number 23-07, special land use, childcare facility at 337 Inkster Road. Review and consideration of a recommendation for a special land use request for a childcare facility in the B2 thoroughfare mixed use district at 337 Inkster Road. Gonna have to pronounce this LLC for me. See, it says Brilliant
Crayon.
Crayonkas. There we go. Brilliant Crayonkas LLC is the applicant. Thank you. This is unfinished business. And this is a special land use. So we must have tabled this.
Yes.
Okay, so
Before the table. Brought back to the table.
yes, the floor is open for her motion to bring these matters off the table.
I put a motion to bring it to the table, Mr. Motion.
Support. It's been properly moved by Commissioner Tanya Williams and supported by Commissioner Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. This motion is now up for discussion. It's been a while since we did some unfinished business. Mr. Dowdell, please give us a briefing on this as the applicant approaches, just to refresh everyone's memory and to brief those who are new to the commission.
Right, because some of you weren't here when this happened. It's my understanding that the applicant wanted to open up a daycare center, and at the time, the issue with her, it was more so with her site plan, in that she had no facility for which the children could play in, and according to Lord, you had to have the facility had to be so close to be able to use, and I think the closest thing was like across the street at a playground or something of that nature.
Sure.
So I believe it was tabled because the what I call it, board, or what would I call you? Commission.
The commission.
Okay, so they were unsatisfied with the safety. Like, I had not gave them my provision or my goal of how I would build a playground and have safety, for the
That's right. Okay.
safety.
Yeah.
Another item or another thing that was discussed was the closeness of the child care being to the dispensary.
Right.
And if I could, I could address it quickly. So for the public as well to understand, I came into the city of Inkster before I signed the lease for that space and requested what was needed to build, was a daycare allowed, or could I do that? And I was giving the documentation and told, yes, it was suitable because it had previously been a vocation. Forgive me. It had previously been zoned for a vocational environment or a dance school or something like that. So it was in the zoning as far as the daycare, but because Laura has a rule that you have to have a playground with 1,200 square feet for a certain amount of children, that became the issue. So I applied for the special land use, which at that time I was told that was all I needed to do. But then by the other individual, Ms. Dixon, I'm going to say positive. What she told me was that because the dispensary would open before my daycare would be open, that it was kind of a no-go. So then I had to reach out to a couple people, Mr. Doyle. Am I saying your last name correct?
Dowdell.
Dowdell. And he advised me to
go ahead and ask you all or submit my paperwork to you all. And that's how we got there. So I don't want to say I feel as though I know for a fact that if I would have been open, for one. So, yeah, and if had I opened the daycare, the dispensary would not have been able to open. So I said that to just share with the public that it was never my intent or my intentions to just come do whatever I wanted to do. I'm definitely a person that followed the rules. I did come in and ask what was needed before I even signed this lease. So I vent that my problems. I'm not going to share that. So get past that. Laura rule says that as long as it's within 300 feet of the dispensary, that they are okay with it. So by no means would this even be here, asking for permission if Laura would not grant a license, because you can't have a daycare without a license. I hope I ain't jump ahead of myself.
No, you didn't.
It's important.
And you're doing good with refreshing us because for Commissioner Hall, I think you might have been here at the time. Yeah. I know Commissioner McDaniel was. And those discrepancies did come up because Ms. Diamond took it upon herself to start reaching out to whoever she could that could get her the most sound and definitive information. Because as we know, that is a litigation matter, and it still is with that entity there. And the way the law is read, as you heard Ms. Wiley bring up earlier, and I think I might have, and whomever else, the way the laws read and everything we went through is, if the daycare was open first by state statute, marijuana retail could not even have opened. But because it potentially could be there first, and then you come in after the fact, they both could exist, which you think, well, what's the purpose of that then? And so that confusion came up about the playground in the parking lot and where it would be and how it would be protected, especially with the entity having writing on the wall that has you to drive around this way. When you looked at I think Mr. Davis or Commissioner Davis, we talked about, so it looks like there was a drive between the two parking lots and someone put a temporary barricade between it. It was some discrepancies that really kind of troubled and confused a lot of us. Yeah. And so, and even just as far as I think it was something with the garbage men using the alleyway. And if they came back through there and came around, so
Even public works for the water and the sewer, that was kind of.
that did come up. So I think that's where we were, and this is where we are today to, I guess, continue with those discussions and make a decision on these matters.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So it took me this long because I had to hire an architect, which is very expensive. I did do so. He drew out a plan, which I did turn it into the building department, where, for one, my proposal would be to move the trash can to the other side. Anyways, it would not be to keep it over there. However, the fire truck and the garbage truck would still be able to fit and do what it needed to do if you guys said, no, you can't move the trash can. The sewer will not be covered. No permanent changes would be made to this property. Everything would be done to where it can be put up or put down. And as far as safety barriers, were you able to share the architect drawings with them? Did you guys get to see that or no?
See, it was long as maybe copies right there.
I'm looking right now. I think this is the other one.
The safety is my main priority too. The thing too that I would like to say about this plaza, everybody knows the plaza has been empty. It was kind of like trashed and stuff. It's been pretty clean since I had the building for over a year. I got the building last March. And again, before I signed the lease, I did come in to find out if that was allowed.
Right.
And I was told it was allowed. But then, for whatever, I knew nothing about a dispensary about to be being built. At this time, the dispensary is just the organist. I think I don't know what it was. It wasn't anything. But I hadn't. If anyone would have told me that they were building a dispensary there, I probably would have I would have not signed the lease. So I definitely was deceived in that manner. And then when I came forward and went on and submitted my documentation, I was told directly that, well, if you open first, then they won't be able to open. And I'm sure is what she told me, Ms. Dixon told me, or Jane told me, that I'm sure they will open first, which they still did not. They still took them like another 2 months to open. And inside of the building itself, I don't have to do any changes. Like painting, it would be the only thing that painting and laying carpet would be the only thing that really needed to be done inside of the building. It is the doors are safety. Like everything is already set. So
Was it a child care facility
it
before?
was not a child care facility. I think it was more so set up like an office space or something. But the way it's done, it was done to where it's zoned for vocational or dance school or so on. So there is smaller classrooms already there.
Okay. And then like the toilet height and sinks and
I would have to change out the toilet, but plumbing and everything is already there.
Great. Okay.
Already is 1, 2, 3 spaces that already has sinks and water and everything already there. And then it's a whole bathroom already there. So I literally, it's not much work. Let me say this too. So the goal for now is just 15 children, and you can have 15 children per one toilet. Although I would, submit a permit to have another toilet. But the issue was mainly the safety of the children, which is my main issue. That's the goal, is to have them in a safe learning environment. So I was already prepared to build out a fence and put up blockers and that's what Laura would require anyway. So I knew those things had to be done, but.
And you said that the main hurdle or last barrier was the playground, correct? So you had to show how you were going to build a playground or outdoor space?
Yes.
Did they give you feedback on like the required equipment, those, environmental health and safety issues?
So the required equipment would have to be approved. So Laura gives us a list. Like I have an actual store that they recommend for us to purchase from. You're not required to have a playground as far as like a swing or anything like that. You're just required to have exercise space. So I could literally not have like playground toys there. It could be something as simple as like a soccer. I wouldn't do a basketball hoop, but a soccer or a kickball or a jump rope. Something for children to ride little tricycles on. Long as they can have at least, I think, 30 minutes. It's either 30 minutes or 45 minutes of outside time is all that's required for the state of Michigan.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It's still vacant now, right?
I'm still paying.
Yeah, you still lease.
I'm still leasing.
Okay. What I'm trying to put my agenda back up. I don't know where this went because I know I didn't want us to get confused because we're talking about the special land use, but then we also have to vote on that, and then we have to vote on the site plan. So we are looking at the site plan now, but this does not pertain to the special land use. So remember to keep write your site plan questions down, because I just had one in my head. I was about to ask her, so wait a minute, we're on the special land use.
So, okay.
The special land use, I believe, is only required because of the playground. Because if I was going to do an infant center where the children would not be anyone under over 12 months old would not be allowed in the.
So what are your age ranges you're expecting?
So I'm looking to do anywhere from 6 weeks to 14 years old, or 12, I should say, because really 14. But I think that's the age is 6 weeks to 14. Which usually by 10, 12, parents aren't really putting them in daycare.
Right. I was going to say, too, just because this was fresh, and I think you might have been here that night. I don't remember. But the daycare that went over in the neighborhood around the corner from me in the house, and they had to have a special land use at the house because they were aiming at having over. How many kids was it? Like over 8?
If it's over 6, you
over 6. Got to get a special land use.
Not have more than 12.
Right.
Yeah, it was between us 10 and 12.
Okay. And I was just saying that when you talked about the special land use, it was the playground for you, and then I guess the amount of children as well, right?
Which like son's children would only be 15.
15. Gotcha.
That's
your capacity.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right. So I'm just trying to imagine.
I have a question so I can make sure. So the special land use is for the outdoor space. Is it also to address the proximity to the marijuana store? No. Okay. So we've gotten past that. Got you.
I'm glad to say that, but I want, and it goes back to my same question. So this zoning currently is B2,
That's correct.
and in B2, what's the common use without special land use?
Give me just a moment. I was going to look it up just to make sure.
Okay,
Cool. So he's looking at it.
All right.
so that's my question. What currently is for NV2 allowing and then allowable there, and then now, and I think we do need to clarify a little bit more. So is the special, and because I don't think special land use in fact is for the, I think the site plan is more for the marijuana, no?
Playground.
The site playground, okay. For the addition for the playground that is required by state.
Yeah.
My question is the special land use in this particular case for the child care facility is for it to operate in the B2 district, correct? There were any other reason for the special land use for this child daycare center?
Just because it's in a B2.
I told Trump to the
And I recommend you have to pay
three.
the special land use page.
That's
That's flowerable too.
It's up to all.
okay. So
It's you.
the flower bowl 2 and the proximity of flower bowl 2 to this proposed daycare is not in this special land use issue at all, correct?
That's correct. Okay.
And then is your facility that proposed to do to this on the north side of the building or the side? So it's close to Michigan Military.
Close to the share here, because I'm on Sky.
That's in the pack, right? When I got right, the little wish that
It's clear, isn't it, right?
SLU and site planners.
I'll make this statement. So, and when I got the zoning for this property before I leased it, I was shown that a daycare, whether it was already zoned for like a vocational school or a dance school or something to that matter. The daycare changed it some because of it. Usually they say sometimes daycares are for people who are capping overnight, or there's at least 8 hours a day, whereas a vocational school or a dance school might only do 4 hours or so on. So I guess the amount of time is the reason why the site plan. And then can I also say that there is a daycare right across the street, which I believe is in B. Is that still B2 as well, or?
And that's
Most of what you call this is B2.
Okay.
so you're special, and that's why I'm asking the question I'm asking now. So again, more entities function as special land use than NIFT. So I think no matter where you would have been in the city of Inkster, it's like this special time use.
Possibly.
So here we go. I was looking for it on here because normally in our packets, what we have, I'm sorry, not normally. In our packets, what we have is the list of the things of like why the special land use is required. And so basically it's 2 items right here where it says findings. To comply with state requirements, the petitioner must receive zoning authorization from the appropriate municipal authority. This is the purpose of the special land use review. Department of Licensee and Regulatory Affairs and Licensee Child Care Centers of Michigan state law regulates and requires all child care centers to have an outdoor play area for any center operating with children in attendance for 3 or more continuous hours a day that has at least 1,200 square feet. More than 1,200 square feet of outdoor play area may be required when the minimum amount is not adequate for the number of children which the center is licensed. The area must easily be accessible by a safe walking route. So that's one. And then the second one is the site plan proposes to convert 6 parking spaces on the north of the building into that same thing is looking to convert those parking spaces to the north of the building into a play area, reducing the number of parking spaces in the shopping center. Additionally, the applicant will need to apply for a variance from the ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals, to reduce the required parking space for the plaza. So that's...
So that was because she was misinformed on how many. So when that space was built, it was built for over the amount of parking spaces. So I wouldn't really be reducing parking spaces because I think she was under the impression it was like 60-something parking spaces, and I believe it's either 92 or something. It's way over, which should be in the site plan.
Okay.
Should be the amount that it was. But when he, the owner told me that, he said, oh, no, it's more than enough. So I would not be reducing.
So your site plan equals 75 spaces minus the 6. So was it 75 spaces?
I believe it was 90 something spaces. I believe I could be wrong. But I know it was over the amount.
It says the total proposed parking spaces is 75 spaces, but I don't see the 90.
So there's some along the back wall of the building as well
Oh, that's yeah.
that she did not count or take into effect. I mean, take into account.
I was just looking at that on one of them. This is because they're like this.
Oh, I see.
Along the back wall.
Yeah, they are. I'm sorry, I said like this. They're vertical and not horizontal.
So again, it would not be reducing. Another thing, if you guys know, that Inkster Plaza has been vacant. Like the plaza is still vacant. If I'm able to move forward, I believe that I'll be able to move down as far as, okay, I'm starting here with this one space, 15, but then I can continue to grow and go on because it is vacant. I also have a hair salon there that has failed. It's very hard to bring people. It just is. We love the city, so.
Okay, no problem. We got you. And so, Commissioner Williams.
To Mr. Williams, to add to your point regarding the parking spaces, they are looking like they're relocating 6. And so the 6 that she's going to be using for her playground, they have proposed right here in this site plan 4 more spaces further away from the building, and then 2 more spaces that looks like it's going to be in front of the current, in front of the proposed playground. So no spaces, parking spaces technically are going to be eliminated. It's still going to be relocated.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I know what you're talking about. Once we get to the site plan, I'll point that out to you. All right. So again, guys,
Yes.
we're the special land use.
Special land use.
Yep, it is
Gotcha.
unfinished business. And so we just go ahead.
Right now, the recommendation for the special land use is to just allow it to be a childcare facility in B2, correct?
Yeah, because those were the things that needed to be met.
Right.
Was that playground portion and the
Secured?
not the security. It's really the playground portion.
Yeah, it's really a playground.
It was a playground.
It was,
Yeah.
It's a playground area.
and the dispensary was an issue.
Right.
She's clarified that that's 300 feet. So that's not an issue.
Okay. I gotcha.
All right. So, floor is open for a motion. Okay. Just to recap, this is a special land use. So the floor is open for a motion to approve recommendation or deny recommendation to City Council for the special land use to child care facility at 337 Inkster Road.
I think I have a question because it didn't say she also has to go to the ZBA. So she has to go to the city council and then the ZBA?
Well, let's go into discussion first because
Okay.
the floor is open.
So the zoning was because.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Amy.
So, so the floor is open for a motion to approve special land use or approve recommendation or deny recommendation for the special land use to City Council.
Okay.
Motion to. Is there support for it? Has been probably moved and seconded. Now discussion. Our job is only to approve or recommend to City Council, approve or
Okay.
deny to City Council. If it has to go to ZBA, that will be the plan, and it says your next step is to go to ZBA
Gotcha.
because in certain cases, me and Commissioner McDaniel have talked about that where things have had to be approved by both bodies before it could go to City Council, and if it wasn't, it failed. So at this point, once it comes out of our hands, if it has to go there, then the planning department would alert her of that. But I believe they got to the point where they said that was just a miscommunication. It didn't actually need to go to the ZBA for a variance. All righty.
Ayes and knees. Do we like?
Any further discussion? Commissioner McDaniel.
My question is it going to have to go to ZBA?
Now Mr. Dowdell.
I saw that in the.
I saw you saw it.
Yeah.
Because of the information that's in here, the text that's in here, commissioners are just curious, will this particular item have to go to the Zoning Board of Appeal for a variance?
For the 6 parking spaces.
You said you think so?
I believe so. because I've been on the site and I don't see 92 parking spaces. I may be mistaken.
It says 35 right here.
Right, but Miss
Like,
So,
so
It's
okay, 1 second. I forgot, I'm sorry. Let's bring that question back up at the site plan, because that is a site plan thing. I just thought about it. Would it be if it has to go to the zoning board? Because we're just approving recommendation or denial to city council. When we get to the site plan, that will solely be our approval and won't get recommended to city council, but it will possibly come up at ZBA. I'm sorry, I confused you guys. So,
that's why I wanted clarification to come to ZBA. So I want to vote on ZBA. I don't want to vote on planning.
got you.
So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. So it'll be the site plan. When we get to that, that's where that question will come back
Vote
up.
on the recommendation to council.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. All righty. So is there any further discussion before we call for the vote for the special land use? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We're down to new business. Item A, case number 24-02 site plan. This is a site plan for a proposed childcare center at Retail Plaza at 337 Inkster Road. Now, before we turn it over to Mr. Dowdell, that is the hard copy you guys have in front of you that we were going back and forth with the special land use. And this is where the question that Ms. McDaniel asked about the ZBA will come up during discussion. And then, of course, anything else regarding the site plan. So, Mr. Dowdell, go ahead, please.
Okay, so in regards to the site plan, the applicant needs to apply and receive a zoning variance for the reduced parking. And then the second option was that she needed a security cameras, like I stated earlier before in the previous special land use.
Thank you. Commissioners, applicant is before us. Go right ahead.
So security cameras would definitely be a part of my program. Actually, it'll be cameras throughout the whole facility because I want parents to be able to have an app so they can log in and see their children. That's the purpose of safety to me. So that's, I didn't put that on the site plan. The variance, I did get a cashier's check for that. I was unsure if that was still the case. So I may have misspoken by saying 92, maybe it was 70 something. But I do know that the parking spaces, even with me reducing or borrowing some, because I'm not making any permanent changes to this property. This is a place that I'm leasing, so everything will be able to be taken down in 3 years. So as far as the parking spaces, though, to my understanding, it's more than enough. And then on the drawing, the architect did draw out where the fire truck and the garbage truck will be able to still get in and out of there without hitting or coming close to the playground area. And it is also, did you see, Mr. Didell, did you see the parking lots, the parking space at the back of the, next to the pet? Is that, so that is calculated into, I didn't get it.
yeah,
It's
October.
and then, so I know too, the sewer was another part of the issue. The sewer would not be covered.
Oh, it's not part of being covered. It's the access that we have access to it, and you show that we have access.
Okay.
Nothing.
And DPS's engineering also to confirm that they didn't have an issue with that.
Okay.
And I'm going to show Commissioner McDaniel real quick, because when we talked about the site plan and the parking spaces, you probably saw it already, but shoot, these are ones they were talking about adding additional right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is where we're talking about they were parking vertical along the backside. And so this is what we kind of had an issue with before, is the vehicles coming through thinking they needed to turn here, but it's adequate space for them to turn there.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. I just have a quick question about the site plan myself, just for the simple fact that I was looking where it says proposed add 4 parking spaces, and that's on the top left of your document, guys. So the reason, and I'm just trying to get the understanding, because I think me and Mr. Commissioner Davis talked about this in the past, like that dividing line between those parking lots from the entity next door and then yours. Can anybody provide clarity? Because I'm just trying to imagine this. If the playground is out there in the lot, the vehicle turns to go past, and then to the right of the vehicle, there's supposed to be more parking spaces. Is that divider not supposed to be there, or?
But the divider will definitely be there.
Okay.
And the fence will not be, so the fence, the way it would be built is to where you still can get through there, even though my goal is to not allow anyone to come in, not allow any traffic through there between the other place of business and mine. I have a couple different things that I could propose. I don't know if the architect wrote that in, but so you know how they have the bigger blocks or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That was my plan to put that there, even because I don't want anyone else to even step over it. I have been trying to separate the two, even though it's been vacant. I've tried to keep that separated.
Got you. Okay.
My thing is on the playground area, do you have support poles? Because you got a fence, but you got a secondary pole that will stop anything going into the fence.
Yes, sir.
And all the way around.
So that's where, if you see on the drawing, it's blockers.
Yep.
So I say blockers. I don't use I don't hear proper terminology.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That's what would be all around. And then it would also be a bright color. So if you hit that, you were trying to...
Yes, this is 4.5 by 36.
And is 32 the number?
Yes, it's installed to manufacturer specs, typical 32.
But I mean, at the same rate, you have to do what you have to do to keep your...
Absolutely.
Right.
That's the point of this, bringing this to Inkster.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's 32 on perimeter around
Yep.
on the sides of the playground.
Okay. All righty.
I have a quick question regarding this site plan. So, when the children go out to the playground, can you tell me how they're going to go out?
So right out of the door, the front door. Right out of the front door, the fence will be right there to just open the fence and go in.
So they don't have to walk around anything there. They can literally coming out the door, opening the gate. If
Going into the, yes, right to the, you get to the right?
Yeah, I see it now. I see the wall to the right.
Which would also be locked.
As well.
All right. Commissioner, anything further? Okay. Planning Department, anything additional?
No, not at this time.
Thank you. And applicant, anything additional regarding the site plan?
Regarding the site plan, my question would be just for the variance, you would give me the next step. And okay, and is that still another, would I have to come and bring that proposal to, you'll tell me.
Okay. All righty. The floor is open for a motion to approve or deny the site plan proposed for the Child Care Center at Retail Plaza 337 Inkster Road.
I motion that we approve the site plan for 337 Inkster Road.
Is there support?
Yes, sir.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Discussion.
Do we need to add, it doesn't say that has to be, the zoning board has to approve that. Do we need to add that to the motion as well?
What's that?
That's on
The variance
the variance
for the ZBA.
for the VA. We can leave that be. That does not.
We can leave that be. That's something as if he was directed administratively. We've never, done that before, saying you need to go see the ZBA, because now we're making that determination as a commission when we don't have to. But when I say administratively, I mean within the planning department.
Planning department. That's just the natural next chain of.
From their flow chart and all that good stuff. Yep. All righty. All righty. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Abstain.
And we have one abstention. Yeah, you mind stating for the record? The abstention?
Because I'm a member of the ZBA, and I would want to be able to vote at the ZBA meeting.
Okay.
For this item.
All righty. Did you guys get that?
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Motion passes. That is 4 yeas, 1 abstention. We are down to miscellaneous. we've hit the 9 o'clock mark.
Yeah, to see.
And I know we have a meeting coming up June 10th. So is there anything pressing under miscellaneous right now? I know me and you talked about stuff we were going to rig up. We can hold off.
We got hold off.
Okay. Anybody else? Nope. All righty. We're moving down to second hearing of the public. This is for items that were not scheduled for a public hearing or on the agenda. So if there's anyone here from the general public that wishes to speak at this time, this is your public comment. Please approach the podium. Seeing no movement, hearing no voices. We're moving right on down to adjournment. Daryl's favorite move, part of the meeting.
Did we skip?
Hold on a second.
We skip be under new business?
Oh, no, new business was the
Site plan.
site plan.
That was for the children. Wait,
Hold on. Do I have a different agenda?
yes.
Yeah. Yes, I signed for the 29709 Michigan Avenue.
Wait, I have the Tuesday, May 28th. This is it, right? Right here.
Look.
I have the site plan for proposed child care center on mine.
And B is to, and B, and there's a B.
Yeah, that's okay. That's why
I don't have a B.
No,
I don't have a B.
I don't either.
Site plan.
Special land use mean doing site plan.
You got to do the site plan.
Yeah. So okay, one second. We need let me and Commissioner Woods get those sheets because I got the electronic version.
And here's the site plan. Yeah.
It's a song, but
Yeah, we don't have a B on ours.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on, Joe. Why do you this here?
This feels low to build us to make.
The top is so old, or top is the old one.
Okay.
Wooden top was blue. When he said,
That's why they waste.
it's the wood in it.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you. I got set up. That's what I'm saying. You know, this is for the Fight Club. No, this is for the.
yes.
That's Fight Club. Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, it's just that line was missing on ours. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's why they wait.
Yeah.
No, they're for a different site. She left.
She did leave.
That's right. She did leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So now what? We need to approve the site plan for proposal.
Yes. That's all. And that's all we have to do.
Those are, yeah. She's gone.
I gotta wait.
Huh? We should wait then?
Yeah.
We at the table?
She was still sitting here and there was
No. I'm talking about for Commissioner Williams.
Oh, okay. Oh,
ladies.
okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know. I looked up and I was like, "Where's she going?" That's why I was.
okay.
So we are kind of sort of. So no, we just got to take up this last matter before we adjourn.
Shit.
Still happy with it. So nobody else. Every month. They do. You go to the side, just so
I mean, we're camping on like hour at a beef.
you know, and
I'm glad. I'm glad Commissioner McDaniel had said that. She's like, "What about B?" And I'm like, "The business." And we're like, "I'm looking like I don't see a B." And that's why I said, "Wait, let me walk down."
Well, now I have a new agenda to review.
to the
But I love it.
oh, school 9/11.
Ooh.
It's very good. Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. So, just backing up real quick, because of just a discrepancy we saw on our agendas that we've rectified, we should be under new business, item 8B, case number 24-03, site plan. This is a site plan for proposed hookah lounge at 29709 Michigan Avenue. As you recall earlier, we had a public hearing about this. I don't think there's much more that we really need to discuss on the site plan unless there's something from planning that needs to be presented to us.
The only thing, like I said, was the security plan for the camera.
Okay.
So is the motion to approve with the new security plan added?
The motion to be to approve the site plan for proposed hookah lounge with the recommendations of
the planning department?
So moved.
Is there properly moved and seconded? No discussion, right? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We did already talk about miscellaneous. We just backed up for a moment. We're going to hold off on those items until the next meeting on June 10th. We did the second hearing of the public. There was no one who'd moved. We didn't have any. And we're down to adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. This meeting is now adjourned at 9:13 p.m. Thank you all for your time.
And I have a safe job.
I can say what they